Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Universally Epic Podcast, your go-to Universal Orlando trip planning podcast. I'm Jim Klein, along with Taylor Franklin. We are your hosts and travel agents for all things Universal. In today's show, T-Pain is blowing up my algorithm, dynamic resort pricing, and the Funtastic world of Hanna Barbera. How you doing, Taylor, this week? What, you can't get over? You can't get over T-Pain blowing up my algorithm?
I can't get over. I was so underprepared for you to say it. Outside of that, I'm doing great.
So let's get into that, I guess, right? So it happened about 2 days ago. So the first of the concert series for Mardi Gras started over the weekend, February 1st. And a couple days ago, all of a sudden, and I obviously with the podcast on TikTok, I follow a lot of Universal like influencers and stuff like that. So like it makes sense that like it would pop up on the feed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
However, it was inundated with T-Pain, and the amount of people I saw in these videos, I could not believe it. There was one. They had a huge. It was early on, and the standing room capacity was full in front of the stage.
Yeah.
So they weren't letting anybody else. I could not believe how popular this was. And don't get me wrong, I know it's a big name, obviously, and it's the first like concert series of Mardi Gras. But I wasn't expecting that.
So I'm on Twitter a lot. I spend a lot of time on Twitter. Mostly because that's where I get all of my updates for like HHN and Universal and things like that. The podcast and everything is also that. But I was just like scrolling through, and it's like the normal stuff, like people being upset about everything. And then all of a sudden I'm getting videos from every single Universal influencer that I have, or like content creator. It's like these massive crowds in Universal, and I was like, what is happening today? Because it didn't even register to me. And I was like, what is was there like a celebrity in Orlando? Like sometimes that happens, but not frequently. And I was like, maybe it's Hollywood. And I'm looking around and I'm like, no, that's Orlando. What is going on? So I'm like watching these videos and I was like, that's T-Pain. That's T-Pain?
Unbelievable. And
I couldn't believe it.
Man, did he put on a show? Like,
yeah.
Listen, I don't listen to that type of music. I'm not a follower of his. But man, I could not believe how well he worked the crowd, how amazing it sounded too. Like I couldn't believe you're watching it on like cell phone footage basically, and it sounded great. It looked like a huge party. Like it just looked like so much fun. It like I would have went just to check that out. And here's the thing. It's free, right? It's free with your admission. So like that's even amazing. That's more amazing than anything. So you're watching these things. So here's the funny part though. So you have all these people. After the concert, there's then video of City Walk and getting back to your car. Was the funniest thing I've seen. It was so packed. It almost looked as if it was like a huge holiday, right? Like a New Year's Eve celebration just let out. And you're just all trying to get up the escalators, out to the parking garages. I couldn't believe how packed it was. And
we've gone to HHN on like sold out nights of HHN, and it didn't look like that. So like it's been busy, and it's been really hard to get to the escalators and everything, or the moving walkways and everything. But like, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
Crazy.
And I give them credit because it was
absolutely
what a huge success for Universal, because the amount of content that just got put out in the last 3 days after that concert was insane. Now, when we talk about Universal's concert series, yes, they have been popular in the past, but I can't remember anything like this. Like that is insane. And it also like, we do bring up Disney a little bit. Now they have concert series during their festivals and stuff, and some are more popular than others. Like right now, I think it's like Festival of the Arts. It's like Broadway, not the most popular over there.
Hmm.
But when they have like, I think it's Food and Wine, they have some. They're going down the pop punk like route
Yeah,
Disney over there, and which I love. I love that. So I'll go all the time. But this seemed a little bit bigger. If
I
it was
agree.
like there are lines to get in over there, but
Hmm.
nothing like this. But this is also, you're not waiting in line to get into a theater. It's just standing room only. You're not sitting down. Like you're just it
Yeah,
was insane. It was insane. It was impressive, I gotta say.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so T Pain blowing up my algorithm. There you
I
go.
really, I really, really, really hope that the rest of the concert series is as popular, or I mean, even if it like kind of decreases in size, I just hope it continues to like be big and it doesn't just like lose steam. But that is one heck of a way to kick off the concert series
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. And you know what? There are going to be shows that are going to be a little less popular, obviously, but
Yeah,
like I said, it's included in your admission. So like,
yeah.
what
Why not
what
go?
like why not, right?
Yeah.
Um, and also if you don't like that, right? Maybe that's a good time to go on the rides, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
so if you don't like the person, go over there and
Go
go
the
jump on
rides.
the ride. I'm sure that the rides are a little slower during those times.
Oh,
So
almost certainly.
yeah. So all right. So let's move on from T Pain. uh, let's get into our next topic is going to be dynamic resort pricing. So starting at the beginning of January, Universal implemented this dynamic resort pricing model. Um, and what that means is that the prices for your hotel stay can fluctuate from day to day. It can go up, it can go down. Now, on our side of things as travel agents, we're in this like workplace group, and we get updates from um, someone from Universal, and so they gave us like a little um, like example of how this can happen. So for instance, Cabana Bay Beach Resort, someone had quoted on January 27th. Okay, um, tickets, everything like that, $2,611.28. The next day, it went down a few bucks. Now, we're not talking major jumps. Not to say
Yeah.
that that can happen, but the next day, it went down to 2604, and then the following day, it went down to 2572. So here's the thing: when you look at those numbers, it's like, oh, so why wouldn't I wait, right, to book because it seems like it's going down? But the problem is it's based on availability, and basically it's like a supply and demand
Yeah.
function that they implemented in here. So each day that rooms aren't booked, the price will go down a little bit. But then once they start booking, it'll start going back up,
Hmm.
right? So it's almost like cruise line pricing, right? Where the first day is the cheapest day, and then it just keeps going up from there. And then towards the end, it's like, okay, we got to fill some rooms. Let's like put some discounts out there.
Hmm.
Now, when you do book, there are so how do you like avoid the, let's say we're quoting somebody a universal package. What's to say they should book that day or like just wait a little bit. So what we could do here on our end is we could put a 3-day hold on the room. In that case, so that locks in the price of what we quoted you. If it decides to go down in those 3 days, we could just reprice the thing out and purchase it again
Yeah.
for you, right? So
Hmm.
that's one way you could do it. Now, if you're booking on your own, good luck. Like you could do it, but if you want to invest the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's completely up to them. Like they could book themselves, or we could just watch the price for you in those three
Hmm.
days. But it's better to just lock in because you can't really guarantee a hotel room category or like let's say you're going
Yeah.
for a certain type, certain location. It's better to lock it in anyway, especially with Universal. Um, you put down your deposit. You have up to we say 46 days. It's really 45 days before to cancel for a full
Yeah.
refund. So it doesn't hurt to just put down the deposit. If you want to change your mind, you could always do that 45 days out. I would
Mhm.
recommend a couple days before that because that's not,
Then we're
that's
scrambling and you're scrambling and
yeah, exactly. Anything could happen. So that's dynamic resort pricing. Really, it's just to say, you could see something online and say, hey, they could get me this price a little cheaper. I just looked it up yesterday and it was a lot more money.
Mhm.
That's why that fluctuation would happen. That's all. It's just so people would understand that.
And we see that happen a lot with like tickets, especially for events and things like that, where we'll see this dynamic pricing kind of appear all over the event. So, like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the event, it's going to be cheaper. And then on Thursday, Friday, Saturday of the event, it's going to be more expensive because there are more people showing up. So, of course, the price is going to raise when we get closer to the weekend as opposed to like traveling in the middle of the day. And that kind of works pretty much everywhere, honestly, even like flying or like going anywhere. When you see these dynamic pricing, it's not there to like be scary. It's there to be like, oh, hey, people aren't coming on Monday, but people are going to be there on Friday.
Yep. Yep. You're right.
You might
You
want to
bring
come
up the
on
airline.
Monday.
You bring up the airlines. Like that is the biggest,
Mhm.
I want to say, scam in the world, because the amount of fluctuation in airline prices from day to day is just, it's honestly disgusting when you look at it, because
It's rough.
it's like you're playing the lottery every time you book an air like a flight, because it's just one day and one thing, the next day it could shoot up and you're like, oh man, I missed that, and then you wait a couple days and then it shoots even lower than it was. It's just so,
It's a
it,
gamble.
it really is, and
That's why
it's
I always tell my clients and now my dear listeners of the podcast, Tuesday mornings at like 7 o'clock in the morning is the cheapest it's going to be because that is when they put out all of their competitor pricing.
oh nice.
So if you do it at like 7, I think it's like 7 to 10 in the morning when you're booking flights, that's going to be usually the cheapest you'll see.
Oh,
Always,
that's a good
also
tip.
always travel during the week, never on the weekends.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, you're right. Yeah, so that's dynamic pricing. It's you know it is what it is. Like, just everybody, like you said, everybody's using dynamic pricing now for everything. So basically, if it's a price that you're comfortable with, just lock it in,
Yeah.
right? And then, like when you book through us, we're looking for discounts anyway. So if a discount
Mhm.
does come out, a ticket discount or something, we could always apply it to your package anyway. So
Mhm.
you'll always get the best price.
As long as you
So
qualify.
exactly, yeah, you're right. Yeah, like you call it. All right, so we'll take a break now, and then when we get back, we'll talk about the Funtastic World of Hanna Barbera, which was an opening day attraction at Universal Studios. So stay right there, and we'll be right back. The Universally Epic Podcast is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel, a Universal you preferred travel agency. If you're looking to plan your next Universal Orlando vacation, let's do it together. As certified Universal specialists, we can help guide you through the planning process with helpful tips and tricks along the way. The best part, all our travel planning services are free to you.
When you book your Universal Orlando vacation with us, you qualify for an exclusive booking bonus offer from the Magic for Less Travel, a $25 Universal gift card for all vacation packages over $2,500. Ready to start planning? Email the podcast at universallyepicpodcast@gmail.com and start planning your next epic Universal vacation today.
All right, so now we're going to get into talking about, we're kind of going back into our opening day attractions one last time, I think, until we start getting to newer rides. So this ride opened on June 7th, 1990. It is called The Funtastic World of Hanna Barbera. Um, yeah, it's a fun name, right, Taylor?
Yeah. Universal is trying to take me out. I
Yeah.
know it.
So this ride was based on Hanna Barbera properties, which it was an animation studio, and from what I remember of this ride, it was amazing. Um, so it featured Dick Dastardly and Muttley. They were the villains. Are you familiar with Hanna Barbera?
I
In it?
so am. I love Hanna Barbera.
All right, yeah. Good. Now that we're on the same page, so Dick Dastardly, right, kidnaps Elroy Jetson. Okay, and
Yeah.
that happens like in the pre-show
Hmm.
before you enter the studio. Now, what I remember this attraction is they also had Hanna and Barbera on in the pre-show talking about the animation process, which was so much fun as a kid. I thought it was
Ooh,
amazing. Yeah, it was
that sounds
really
really
cool.
cool.
Yeah, and then they drew it, it came to life, and then this whole thing happened. Right?
Huh.
So that's how it was very cool. It was a very, very cool
Okay.
pre-show. Um, so you walk in and it was Universal's first simulator ride. Okay. And basically what happens is you're basically trying to get Jetson back. So you start off and you get like slingshotted into the Stone Age, and you're in with the Flintstones, and you're kind of like ducking, weaving, going around dinosaurs, flying over things, and yeah, and then you bounce into Scooby Doo and the Mystery Machine, and so now you're going through like a haunted house, and then you get blasted into the Jetsons, and then you're flying around the Jetsons, and you see all those characters until finally like this robotic arm comes down. Who was that? The maid in the Jetsons. I can't remember the name, but they she
What is
plucks
that?
out. I
Yeah.
can't remember. I can't remember. Let me see. Oh, Rosie. Okay, I looked it up. Rosie,
I
Rosie the Fly.
love the Jetsons.
Extends her arm, lifts it up. Dastardly and Muttley get destroyed, and you
You
run into
killed
Big.
them?
No, you don't. No, you don't get killed. No, they like they go through some like what is it? They get arrested.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
happens. So
They
they
get
crash.
arrested.
They get arrested, and they go into this like flying jail cell,
Oh,
and
okay. Cool.
you get put back through like a vortex, and you land into this giant inflatable bumper that says "end," and that's the end of the show. After the show, though, you go into like an interactive area,
Hmm.
right? So like, and then you go into the Hanna Barbera store. So it was kind of cool. You had like some interactive things there. This ride was awesome. It was great. This ride, like I said, was an opening day attraction. Um, it lasted from 1990 to 2002. So 12-year run was pretty good, and all these shows were kind of old.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking like they're very old, but like at that time, it lasted quite a while
Hmm.
um, for what it was. But it was a great show, and the pre-show was great. The post-show was great. Um, that made way for Jimmy Neutron. Now let me get the name of this one. Jimmy Neutron. Wait, let's see here. Sorry, I just Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast. Okay, now this is still when Nickelodeon Studios was around as well. Um, so that opened April 11th, 2003. Jimmy Neutron then closed in 2011. So an
Well, that was
eight-year run
around for a while.
for a pretty long time. So
Okay.
now this is all. So this is the behind the scenes here. This is all just to get to the next attraction here. So Jimmy Neutron closes 2011. In 2012, um, Despicable Me Minions Mayhem opens up, which then starts this path down a road for Universal to just lay into Minions, right? So Minions everything at Universal because it's
Everything.
such a huge success, right? And that turns into what is now Minions Land. so that we really brought up Fantastic World of Hanna Barbera just to get to Minions Land. Just still talk about how great Minions Land is. It's small, but it's great. It is a
It's so
great
good.
little area of the park. It's a walk through land, right? You can
Hmm.
walk through it in a couple seconds, but there's so much packed into this little area,
There is, yeah.
and I think they did a great job. Minions Blast or whatever that was, the gun game we've
Villain
talked about in
Con.
the past. Villain Con, yes, Villain Con. Sorry, um, we've talked about in the past. Could have been a little bit thought out
Yeah,
more. Um, it's fun. It's
it's fun.
just chaotic as well.
It's the
So
standing for me that really kind of kills me. Um,
yeah,
so we only can ever like really do Villain Con like in the beginning of the day because I have knee problems. So I take my moment of respite when I'm on the rides when I can sit down.
yeah.
But
Standing was that's an interesting way to go. I know you could put more people in. It's a
yeah,
constantly moving platform, but like we said, it's so hard to see where you're shooting in that. It's very difficult because you're
yeah,
shooting it around. Now you have to and like we said in the past, there's you do get a score, but it's not really like a big deal. Like where over in Disney on Buzz Lightyear, right? The score is
mhm.
like right in front of you. You want to get that like 999,999 score so you can take a picture. You get it. This is nothing like that. They do have a thing when you walk out of Villain Con,
Oh yeah, the
like where
leaderboard.
you compare like a leaderboard type thing. I don't know. Like you could hook it up to your phone, but we've talked about that in the past where it's like it where they give you your gun and where you have to like set up your link it to your account. It's too quick. So it's
Yeah.
hard to like do that in time. And then you start getting frustrated because you're trying to do it and it doesn't work. Like I couldn't get it to work, but it is what it is. It's a fun shooting game,
Hmm.
but I think they could have spent a little bit more time on it. But that's not to say Minions Land is bad because Minions
Not at
Land
all.
houses a lot of cool things. Minions
Hmm.
Cafe, we've talked about that in the past. One of the best restaurants in Universal.
Love
Hands
Minion
down,
Cafe.
I will die on this hill. Minions Cafe is amazing, and I
Amazing.
love the food, and the food there is phenomenal. It is very very good. It's a little bit on the more exotic side for children,
Yeah, for kids. Yeah.
but my kids did eat. So, and my kids are a little picky. So, when they do like a peanut butter and jelly, it's slightly different, right? It's like pressed into a minion and then like toasted. Delicious. It was good.
Amazing. Hmm.
Yeah. And those minion tater tot things, the potato,
I love them.
those are
I
so good.
convinced all of my friends to go to Minion Cafe just on the Minion potatoes alone.
Yeah, it's so good.
I
Now,
love them.
the thing that we had was this tomato soup, and I've talked about it in the past, and
Hmm.
it's on an old episode. They have a tomato soup there with chunks of bacon in it and
Yeah.
this like pesto oil. Oh my good. And it's got like this slight spice to it, like enough to just like warm you up a little bit. I know middle of August, you're not wanting soup. I went in January. Okay, so I had the soup and it was
Okay, it
cold.
was
It was
still,
cold.
I guess, a little cold for Florida.
Yeah, it was like 50 degrees when I was down there, and I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
all right, I'll
freezing,
try.
basically.
Yeah, yeah. I I was still in a t-shirt and shorts, so it's not.
You're in the north.
Yeah, they know the northern weirdos when they're like walking around. Everybody else is in a jacket, and we're like, yeah, this is great.
Noah's the
We're going to
same way.
Florida wearing shorts no matter what. Like that's it. I don't care how cold it is.
Noah's the
Um,
same way. He walked out.
yeah,
He walked out this morning. I think it was like 40 something degrees outside when he walked out, and he's in a flannel. That's it. And I was like, "Are you not going to be cold?" And he was like, "No." I
that's funny.
was like, "Okay."
Yeah, Minions Cafe is really really good food. I recommend it to
It's
everybody that
really-
goes.
There
Um,
is only one thing that we had that I did not like:
what was that?
the cupcake. It's like a cupcake that looks like a unicorn.
Okay,
I don't know. There was a lot weird with it. The like frosting on it was like frozen,
hmm,
so it like had been in a like a chiller or something like that.
okay,
While it was like so the frosting didn't melt because it was like in a shape it looked like a unicorn. So I would assume that like they made it and then they just like put it in a chiller and then they brought it out to us. But it was like mostly frozen. And then by the time it like melted enough for us to eat it, it was very sweet, very
okay.
very sweet.
I find
Um,
that
eh,
yeah, I find that with a lot of those like cupcakes. where the icing is overly sweet. It's a
Hmm.
little oily
Yeah,
almost. Yeah, it gets like a little oily. It's that type of frosting that they use, right? It's this like big
yeah,
vat of frosting that they like color and like, and it
yeah.
has that mouth feel that is, it's
It's
not
like
creamy,
gritty.
right? Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
like, I wonder if it's a like a non-cream icing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
probably.
it's not buttercream. It
Uh-huh.
probably has like an oil base to it, and so that it can appeal to more people. Where it's like, oh, it can be called vegan or whatever, or vegetarian. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and that's
It's like,
probably
oh,
the case.
sure.
It just was like the one thing that I was like, nah.
Yeah. How was the ratio of frosting to cake too? Because sometimes I feel like the frosting
So there was like
overpowers.
this much frosting on it. It's like probably like 3 inches of frosting on it, and then the cake was like maybe a couple of inches. There was more
Yeah.
frosting than there was cupcake.
Yeah. And I guess that's to make it look nice. But like,
Yeah.
I'd rather a better ratio than that. How was the cake though? Was the cake good?
The cake was fine.
Decent. Yeah.
It was fine. It was kind of like I it was hard to taste the cake through the icing.
Gotcha. Yeah, it just
And
overpowered.
it was like in like a weird dish, so it wasn't like I could even like flip over the cupcake and just eat the cake part of it. Um it was weird. I think there were 8 of us, and between the 8 of us, I think we ate half of the cupcake.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It
Yeah,
just
that's
was
not.
so sweet. It was
Yeah,
so sweet.
yeah. Yeah. So, and then you have the ice pop stand in Minions Land,
Mhm.
right? You have that. You have a popcorn cart.
The
Um,
banana popcorn.
yeah, banana popcorn. Have you had
It's
it?
actually not bad.
Okay, so I did not get the banana popcorn because I ate myself silly at Minions Cafe and I wasn't hungry
I
after.
thought it
But
was going to be gross, and then one of my friends got banana popcorn. And I and it was kind of an experiment. We all were like, okay, we're all just going to take one piece and we're going to see how it goes. And then we took the one piece and I was like, that actually didn't suck. I expected that was going to be gross. And cuz
so
I don't like bananas. So I was
yeah,
like I didn't expect it was going
here's
to be
the
good.
question there. So
Pretty good.
is it a artificial banana flavor or is it like a real banana flavor? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
Yeah,
like
no,
you
I
have like
do.
like the Runts like banana candies. Like, is it that flavor or is it like an actual banana flavor? You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
there is some difference.
it was for sure artificial banana, but it wasn't as sweet as like banana runts or like banana laffy taffy. It
Okay.
was more on the side of like we're trying actually to be a banana, but we're not a real banana.
And then how did the popcorn flavor blend in there?
It's good. So okay. I work in a movie theater. For those of you guys that don't know, I work in a movie theater, and when the last Minions movie came out, we also got banana popcorn at the movie theater. And I was the only one brave enough to try it. Everybody else was scared of it. I was the only one brave enough to try it, and we tried it unsalted and salted. So I have insight on both of these things. Tastes way better salted than it does unsalted, and I'm really glad that Universal went the salted direction.
That's good. That makes sense. That makes
Hmm.
sense because the salt counterbalances the sweet,
Yeah,
and it'll like make it taste a little bit better.
yeah,
So anytime you have anything sweet, have a little salt with it. It's
hmm,
so good. It's
so
so good.
good.
I almost cursed right there.
I heard you. This is a
I got so excited
family-friendly
about
podcast,
popcorn.
Jim.
I know. I know. I was getting so into popcorn. Okay. All
Minion
right.
Cafe does something to you
Yeah, no, Minion Cafe. I could go there every day.
every day.
It's so good. It's so good. It's a good theme. You know,
They
Minions
took
Cafe.
away they took away the mac and cheese.
Okay.
I don't know why they did that, but it really hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Universal, please bring back the mac and cheese in the Minion Cafe, and don't put. I think there was like pork belly or something that was in it. Don't put that in there. Just give me the mac and cheese.
Straight
Give me
mac and
the
cheese.
option to have just the mac and cheese. There's no reason that I can't have just the mac and cheese.
That's funny. You know what we should do one time on the podcast? We should do like a day of eating. You put together like where you would go, and then
Okay.
I'll put together where I go, and we could like really get into it. Where it's like, what snack you'd eat, what's your favorite meal, that type of thing. That would be a good idea.
That would be really fun. We could do that with
Yeah,
rides too. We could plan like a day at Universal if we had infinite time and it didn't matter when the park opened or closed.
that's a good idea too. Yeah,
That would
we
be
could
fun.
definitely. Yeah, that would be fun. All right, stay tuned because we're definitely going to do that in the future. Once we run out of all these rides that closed, it's like 40 rides that have closed at Universal. I read that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
We're
a
not.
lot.
Don't worry, guys. We're not going to keep hammering it to you. We'll break it up a little bit.
We gotta do
we we love doing the research and talking about all these older rides, and like hopefully everybody's listening still. So
Hopefully we haven't lost anybody yet.
yeah, right. So that all brings it back to Despicable Me, Minions Mayhem, my son's favorite ride. It is. He loved that ride so much, and to this day, I still have to hear about how we were going to go on Minions Mayhem last, and we ended up going on Supercharged, and worst decision I've ever made.
You
Ever.
took away. Hold on.
Okay.
You took
We
away.
already went on. Okay, we already went on Minions Mayhem, so we were trying to do all the stuff that we
Do it
haven't done
again.
before. Yeah, I know. Well, it's hindsight's 2020, Taylor. Like, right? Like, obviously now I know I
Everyone
made a
has to
wrong.
make the mistake once.
Yeah, awful, awful. So I have to live that for the rest of my life, and my son reminds me of that all the time. That remember that time we went on Supercharged instead of Minions Mayhem again? Yeah, I do. I'm sorry. I am very very sorry about that because it's not. It's a great ride. Minions Mayhem, not Supercharged. We're not. We could keep going on and on about that, but let's give it a break. I think we bashed Supercharged last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. So let's not do that today.
We'll give it one. We'll give it one episode where we don't say anything negative about Supercharged.
I don't know if I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could do that.
We've already ruined it. We've already failed.
Yeah. Well, this week is over, obviously.
And next week we'll strive to do better.
Yeah, we'll be talking about like Back to the Future next week, and then I'll bring up Supercharged, how bad it was, and it doesn't make any sense. There's no correlation whatsoever.
Cars, motion simulator.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that Minions Mayhem, it's a great ride.
It's
and
so fun.
It's like current too, right?
Yeah.
Because they keep popping out Minion movies, and they're still successful. So keep doing it because it's
Stop
amazing.
doing it. Stop doing it. Please stop doing it.
Why, you don't like Minions?
I love Minions. Okay. I love Minions. I think they're super fun. I don't like managing a movie theater when a Minions movie comes out.
Tons of kids.
Kids, adults that don't want to be there, kids that don't want to be there.
That's hysterical.
There was an incident when the last Minions movie came out. Not Despicable Me, the last Minions movie came out. There was like some TikTok trend or something of these people that were like dressing up in suits and they'd like dress super nice and they'd go to the movie theater and then they'd wreak havoc. Luckily, my theater, the worst thing that we had happen is someone crawled in the booth, like in the projection booth, and they put we have like protective gear for when we change the bulbs that nobody ever uses. Sorry. Nobody ever uses it. Mostly because when we change the light bulbs have been off for a while, so they're not hot. But they went in the booth, they grabbed the protective gear, and then they put the jacket over the lens on the projector, and it's like opening night for the Minion movie. And a bunch of people were super mad. But one of the worst parts of that story is that my boss's wife and his 3 kids were sitting in the theater when it happened.
Oh, no.
And he
no.
was so mad. And I have never run so fast in my life to try to catch a child.
Oh, my goodness.
And I didn't catch them. They ran off into the other parking lot to do God knows what. But like they crawled up in the booth, and I don't even know how they did it, because in the theater that they were in, the booth is like really super tall. So someone had to get on someone's shoulders, and it probably was a whole thing.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would never even think to do something like that. Like, that's crazy.
I have no idea. The
I
TikTok
mean,
trends are weird for movie theaters. They're so weird. There was a theater where someone set off during the Minions movie, set off fireworks in the theater.
like, who thinks that's a good idea?
And they were
I
like
don't
throwing bananas and stuff at the screens, and I don't know how much you know about screens in a movie theater,
No,
but
I don't know anything, really.
basically if you get anything on the screens at all, you have to replace the entire screen.
Oh,
And a screen alone, even in like on the smaller end, is like $15,000 to replace.
what?
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea it was that much.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's
Why in
because
the world?
they're like special made. When they say like silver screen, that's like not. It's
God,
hyperbolic, but it's not incorrect. There are like
God.
there's like special particles and stuff that you have to put on the screen to make it reflect the way it's supposed to with the projector lights and everything else. It's a whole thing. We'll be
That's
here for
crazy.
hours if I try to explain how projection
Yeah,
screens work.
yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting because I've never heard. I obviously don't know anything about it, so like that's
Mhm.
actually interesting to know. So,
Yeah.
all right. So, you have anything to add for Minions, or you want to wrap this one up?
Nah, I'm just really glad the minions are back behind you.
Yeah, I know. I missed them 1 week. I forgot to put them out. So, thanks for reminding me. So, all right, let's close this out. All right, like, follow, and subscribe to Universally Epic Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Please leave us a rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, join the Universally Epic Podcast community on Facebook. This episode is brought to you by the Match of Plus Travel. If you have any Universal Orlando trip planning questions or looking to book your next trip, email us at universallyepicpodcast@gmail.com. And like always, have an epic week, everybody. In today's show, T-Plane. Oh my God. I was so, this is so ridiculous because I was so, oh, there was no errors last week, I said. So stupid. All right, I'm going to start over. All right.
Don't psych yourself out. You got this.
Things Universal. In today's show, T-Pain is blowing up my algorithm. Dynamic resort pricing. But you didn't like T-Pain is blowing up my algorithm. Let me get to the end of the intro. And we're going to talk about the fantastic world of Hanna Barbera. It was supposed to be funny, but I got you there.
I was not prepared. Oh no. Okay. Oh. All right. One more time.
All right, let's do it one more time. Oh, my face hurts. Okay.
God.
All right, ready?